Hello everybody, I hope you're doing really well with everything that's going on. I just thought I'd upload this video every Monday and every Thursday just as a way of us all keeping in contact and as a way of us practicing some of our karate. I hope you've all done a little bit already. I've seen a couple of other videos online of people like Rob Copeland doing little 10-minute videos, which I thought have been really good. So basically going to steal their idea and going to do the same. So today we're going to cover the first stance in a series of stances that we're going to do. And today is going to be all about Junzuki stance. So it's one of the first sort of stances that we learn in karate, and it's in our very first kata, Nintendo kata, and it's pretty much found in all of our other katas as well as our basics, okay? So, first of all, I want to get one thing out of the way very quickly. Junzuki stance, okay? It is not a stance. Shock horror. Junzuki, zuki means punch, okay? Gakuzuki means reverse punch. Junzuki means forward punch, okay? So it's kind of a slang term that we use in our style of karate. It's the stance that we make when we do a forward punch. The actual name of the stance itself, can anybody guess? Is called Zen Kutsudachi, okay? Zen Kutsudachi. Dachi bit means stance, and Zen Kutsudachi means forward leaning stance, okay? So let's practice that now. And it's the stance we make when we do all our basics, okay? Yeah, when we do our like ketes, when we do our Junzuki punch or whatever. So we start in Yoidachi, left leg forward, stepping forward into our stance. From here, you can see there's one thing that's important, is our forward leaning stance, okay? The weight is forward, the weight is into the front punch. So there's 8 things now that we're going to cover, 8 things to remember for Junzuki stance or Zen Kutsudachi stance. First thing is the front foot. The front foot is pointed forward the way we're going, okay? So we don't want our front foot to be coming in too much. Some styles actually do have this front foot coming in slightly and gripping the floor. Our style, the front foot is naturally pointed forward as it's a forward leaning stance, and the movement comes forward later on, okay? So first point, front foot pointing forward. Most of the weight is on that front foot as well, okay? About 70% of the weight is down into that front foot, forward leaning stance. The back foot is at 45 degrees, pointing out to the side, and I'm pushing against the edge of my foot, so all of my foot is flat on the floor, okay? I'm not like this, I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, where the edge of my foot is raising up. No, I want all of my foot flat on the floor, most of the weight into the ball of the foot, but all of the foot flat on the floor, okay? A bad mistake we see all the time is this. We definitely don't want the foot poking out to the side. Okay, so get your heels back. Sometimes I come round in class here and I'm telling you heels back. Green belts and blue belts especially, get those heels back. Okay? Last thing about the feet. Yes, the front foot is pointing forward. Back foot now we know is slightly out to the side, but not too far. Key mistake is the feet themselves must be hip width apart. So if we start in Yoidachi, which is ready stance, yeah, our feet, as you can see, should be in line with my shoulders. Yeah. When we step forward then with this foot as it comes out straight, I keep that width in my stance. I keep that hip width in my stance. So point number 3 is to keep your hip width in your stance. We see it all the time where people step forward and they're kind of on line like this. You lose your balance really easy, okay? And it's very hard then to move from here, and it kind of feels like you're on a tightrope. Okay, so keep that width in your stance, nice solid base. Alright, let's talk about, we've done feet now, we talk about the knee positions. The first thing about the knee position, so point number 4, is the front knee is bent. Okay, front knee is bent. And the knee itself is pointed the same way as the foot. And what I mean by that is, you can have the front leg bent, but you can have the knee in the wrong position like this. Okay, so I'll do it facing the camera. So you can have the front leg bent, which is fine, but you can have the knee in the wrong position. See how the knee isn't pointing towards you guys? It's kind of pointing to the corner. We don't want that. You want to feel like your knee position is above your ankle, okay? And if anything, you want to be pushing your knee towards your kind of little toe to make sure you're locked into place there, okay? So that was number 4. The front knee is bent and the knee itself is pushed out and it sits above your ankle. So if you get it dead on right, this lower part of your leg should be coming straight up out of the mat. And that should never really change. Even if we go really low, like in a shorter can stance, that part there should be the same. You see how that's like a 90-degree angle? Now we don't have stances this low in Wado, we're normally a lot higher, okay, so we can move a little better. They rely on their stances to be quite low, really sort of wide, strong stances, and they can just strength out the techniques, okay? We're a little bit higher, so we need a little bit more movement only, okay? Now we'll start. Let's go on to point number 5 then, the back knee and the back leg. It is straight, as straight as you can get it, okay? Now then, there's 2 things that is going to help you here. It's going to be the foot position, right? If the foot is in the right position and the heel is back, if you then straighten your leg, everything kind of locks into place. That's what you want. It's got a strong stance once you lock it in. If your foot position is bad, like what we said earlier, point number 2, like this, what will happen is your knee will tend to just bend a little bit, like that. You see that? A little bit? We don't want that, okay? And again, if your foot position isn't right, if you've got weight kind of like that, can you see how my knee's dropping in? We don't want that either, right? So we want weight down straight through the leg, down into the heel, down into the ground, where we're nice and solid, okay? Right, let's talk about last thing then to do with the sort of bottom half of the body. So about the hips. Now most of our style of karate, our sort of strength if you like, doesn't come from like boxing from the shoulders, okay? It comes from the hips. Comes from the hips. So let's have a look at Junzuki stance. If you've got your feet in the right position, if your legs are in the right position, your hips should be down in your stance and locked into place, okay? Now there's kind of 2 things I want to show you here. The difference between a Junzuki stance, which is there, and Gakazuki stance, I'll do it slow, there. Well, the main difference you should see is the hips. So my hips here close in as I do my Gakazuki. See how this hip came forward? If I had that on, you can see I was looking to the door. And as I pull this hand back and I punch with this hand, this hip is coming back slightly, and this side here is coming forward. You can see then how that's going to help the punch. Yeah? Do from the other side. So here's Junzuki stance, Gakazuki stance, this hip coming back, other hip coming forward, and then Junzuki forward punch, this hip's going to come forward with the punch. Okay? That's quite a tricky technique. It's kind of like a feeling that you've just got to get as you're practicing. So for sort of purple belts, brown belts, black belts, that's something to really work on, especially in your captain. Last couple of things then before we finish. With the Junzuki stance is from the torso up, we're natural, we're just neutral. From the torso up. The front hand is out straight doing the punch and it's in line with your body. So point number 7 is the front hand in the punching position. Just in line with the body, center line, along with the solar plexus. Loads of times you kind of see that. People think it's kind of in line with the shoulder, or like above the knee. That's not what do you want? You want it sort of down the centre line, okay? Straight towards your opponent's sternum. And the last bit, the kind of bit that bugs me the most, is, what do you think? Last point, point number 8. It's the backhand, okay? The backhand is just as important as the front hand, okay? The hikite. So point number 8 is the backhand here. As you punch with one hand, you pull with the other hand. It's two things happening at once. Your pivot is your hips, okay? You pull and push, pull and push, pull, push, pull, push, pull, and push, okay? This hand has to be in line with your body on the side, so it's not kind of there and it's not all the way back. See this sometimes with kids, okay? Keep it here, your hand is upside down, and your elbow is tucked in at all times. So as you punch, don't flare your elbow out. It kind of makes it look like, I don't know, like you're rolling dice then with your hips, with your hands. It kind of looks like going like that. It's not what you want. You want to come straight from your hip, straight through, rotate right at the last minute. Okay? On the way back then, you kind of have to reset. So your hand goes upside down, your elbow comes back in line with the side of your body. Again, push, and back. If in doubt, if you're not quite sure kind of what stances you're in, or what we're doing, stick your hand on your hip. Please. Thank you guys, that's all for now, and I'll see you on the next episode.